Blog Talk Radio.
I saw a cloud today. I watched it change its shape into a dinosaur, a whale, a mermaid, and a plane. The mermaid was pregnant, and then it turned into a Doberman, and the Doberman just turned back into the sky. Then I saw a real plane flying awfully low, man, dropping toxic chemicals all over my town. It says to help us, but then it's trying to hold us down and try and take away our clouds and replace them with their own crop dust in downtown, saying it saves the ozone. But they don't care about your home. They're just trying out new ways of population control. We're young and we're bold. We can throw away their laws and replace them with our own. And the story will be told about a group of young adults who overthrew the throne, shone a light on just how bright this world could surely shine. Utopia works conceptually, but even in reality, to overthrow the state, we all gotta be in the right state of mind. I saw a bird today, I watched it fly away, and in my heart I knew I had to do the same. This town's really gotten to me, the streets smell rotten to me, and I still can't stand those goddamn fucking flames. But they're only flying now, someday they'll be bombing town. They already started a secret chemical war. They've taken all we had, still want more. Sky is saturated with rain. I swear I'm not insane. It's going to pour. It's going to pour. But don't you use no phone, because the government can bug anybody's phone. So don't walk the streets alone, because they might steal you in the night without your family being told. But we're young and we're bold, and we can throw away their laws and replace them with our own. And the story will be told about the group of young adults who overthrew the throne, shone a light on just how bright this world could surely shine. Utopia works conceptually, but even in reality, to overthrow the state, we all gotta be in the right state of mind. We all gotta be in the right state of mind. There's no telling just how far we can climb. We're just in the right state of mind.
Hello, everybody. Thank you once again for tuning in to Universal Truth Evolution on blogtalkradio.com. We're here once again with yet another awesome guest that we feel very privileged and honored to have be with us today to share with us some information that major media tends to shy away from. Too much truth. You know how it goes. So, either way, it is my privilege and honor to introduce today's guest, Dave Corso. And rather than kind of give a big old long how do you do about him, I'd rather just have him talk a little about himself here, because that's what we brought him on here to do. So how's it going, Dave?
Pardon me, do I know you? Oh, hi, Jerry. Hi, Tamara. And to answer the lady's question in the chat room, do I have my website? Nah. I don't need anyone's approval about who I am or what I do. I'm a very private person, actually. Besides that, I have too much fun reading other people's websites.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Good. It's non-stop entertainment, right?
Absolutely. Oh, my golly. I hope my pack doesn't go up today. They're all resting someplace.
Yeah. So for those in the archives and maybe in the chat room who aren't familiar with Dave, Dave has a lot of wolves and great creatures, right, Dave?
Absolutely the most intelligent and loving of all the canine family.
Very
How
cool.
do I know? Because I got a 160-pound wolf laying in the living room that loves people. And his name is Mr. Merlot.
Nice. That's a big dog there, 150 pounds. Wow.
Yep. And he is he's a rescue I got 2.5 months ago.
Oh.
As a replacement from Herc, the one that passed on in August, because I know Herc had everything to do with me finding this guy, because he was in a animal or canine rescue that the owner died and didn't leave a will, so the county didn't know what to do with the wolves.
Ah.
And I went down and looked at Mr. Merlot on a Monday morning and put my hand in there, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I said, Mr. Merlot, would you like to go home with me, be part of my pack? And his eyes, which were dull, lit up, and he could barely walk. I said, well, okay, I know how to fix this. Went down to get him the next morning, walked in his cage, they gave him a treat, and he looked at me, and I said, you about ready to go home? I said, when you're ready, here's the harness and the leash. And he walked away for about 10 minutes, and he came back and looked at me and gave him another treat, walked away again, came back about 5 minutes later, stood over the harness. I said, I can't put it on you until you move. So he backed off, came back in and stood over it so I could put it up on him. I says, when you're ready to go, I got the leash. And one of the guys said, if you have any trouble with him, I'll hold him for you. I says, you don't understand about wolves, do you? You do things on their way and their time. So about 5 minutes later, hi, Tamara. About 5 minutes later, he came over and I put the harness on, or put the leash on him, and he went over and said goodbye to this little, beautiful little black dog that I didn't have room for. And I put him in the car and put the windows down, and as we were riding home, I says, now when we go home, I says, the pack's ready for you inside the house. And when he got home, he saw the next-door neighbor's dog, which is a beautiful 7-month-old Dobie named Rusty. And they went over and they touched noses and tails were wagging. I thought they were both going to take off. So I brought him in the house, and my dogs never barked. They sniffed butts. That was it. He was part of the pack. And then when I took him outside to meet the backyard pack, they looked at this big wolf, and they all backed up and barked, sniffed butts, and it's fine. And he loves people.
Very cool.
Someone knocks at the door, all 4 of my inside pack run over and see who's at the door. Are they bringing treats?
That's awesome. So how many wolves do you have?
I have 3 purebreds, 4 half-breeds, and 4 other dogs.
Oh, wow. It's a nice pack.
I have a Doberman Pincer. I got Rusty now. I'm training him from the next-door neighbor. And then I got a Aussie Shepherd Border Collie named Bubba, who's 10 years old. And I got a 15-year-old English Jack Russell named Sassy, and a 10-year-old 12-pound Yorkie. He's not fat. He's just big, named Spike.
Ah, cool.
And these are my companions.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm definitely a dog lover myself, so that's really cool. And I've always wanted to have experience with some wolves, because I've never actually had a chance to, interact with them at all. So it's really cool to hear about them too. So.
Well, it's interesting because wolves are the most powerful of all the spiritual animals. And I don't get a lot of, shall we say, interference here because my wolves have a barrier around my house. And if you know how to look, you can see there's a big white vortex that's over my house and my property all the time, thanks to my wolves.
Very cool. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know or realize that you're very spiritually in tuned and very psychically active, shall we say. So maybe we can get into a little bit of that too, and how you've learned to hone that yourself, I'm sure, over the years.
Oh, and for Joseph, I was just joking, honest. I know she's yours.
Yeah, Joe's a great guy. That's Joseph Aguirre, everyone, our resident astrologer here that I'm sure we'll have back on the show soon enough. And but yeah, definitely interesting hearing about the pack. And yeah, I know the wolves in general, like throughout all kinds of native cultures, are viewed as very, very powerful spiritual animals who assist in a lot of shamanic traveling or astral traveling, whatever you want to say. Is that something that you've experienced with them too? Like do they accompany you with you on your dreams and such?
I only have one dream of any of my canines being with me. Pardon me, sinus is draining good thanks to all the miserable chemtrails these bastards are spraying. Had unmarked white 747s, no less.
Oh, nice.
But anyways, I had one night I was in the astral and I looked and there was my Herc. But what's interesting is Herc in this life when he was here was partially disabled. He had a staph infection when I got him at 3 weeks, got that cured, but he always walked with a limp. In the last February, March, April, May, June, July, 6 months of his life, or 7 months of his life, he had trouble with his back legs, with pinched nerves and strained tendons that the vets could not heal. And he told me for 2 weeks it was time for him to go home. And when the vet came into the house on the 30th of August at 10 minutes after 4, I said, "Hey, Herc, the vet's here with your ticket." This wolf sat up because he knew exactly why they were there. And who was here at the time? Well, there was me, my son, a friend of mine, Lewis, another friend, Aaron Winberry, not Aaron McCollum, Britt Irwin, and my niece and her husband, the people that this wolf knew the longest and the best. And when the vet and his assistant stepped through the door, he barked his friendly greeting, and they both stepped back. I said, "No, he's barking you a friendly greeting. He knows why you're here." Mm-hmm. So Beth said, "Well, I'm ready to shave his legs." So I said, "Herc, he's going to shave your legs." So he laid down. I said, "Show him the clippers turned off, to turn them on and tell him what you're going to do." So she did that, and he looked at her, and she reached down for his left front leg. He pulled it back and stuck out his right front leg. It was the one that gave him all his problems. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And after she shaved his leg, I still get very emotional about this. After she shaved his leg, the vet said, "I'm ready." I said, "Okay, Doc, just a minute." And Beth turned to Herc and says, "When you get across the bridge, Herc, you find my little Rosie, and you give her a hug and a kiss for me and tell her I love her and miss her." This 150-pound wolf sat up and kissed her face. Then I explained to her what was going to happen. The last thing he said to me was, "I'm scared, but Dave," he said, "but you've done the best job you could." He says, "But my time here is up and I have to go across the bridge." Excuse me, I'm very, very emotional about my animals.
It's okay.
My animals are more important to me than I am to myself. I have a spiritual agreement with all of these canines that I was going to be their human companion. And if people don't understand that, I feel so sorry for those people. Otherwise, these animals would not be with us. I don't care if it's a cat, a mouse, a rat, a dog, a horse, a kangaroo, a coyote, or what. They understand it. Most 99.9999% of the people never get that. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Colleen. I appreciate it. Wow.
I lost for you, Dave.
I'm still crying.
Hey, it's what you have to, man. It's how it goes sometimes, and we're human. We have to do it. Enjoy it.
Yeah, but most people don't. They think animals are just dumb, stupid critters, but mine talk to me.
Oh, yeah, they'll talk. Absolutely. Most people just don't know how to listen.
Yeah, what's nice is when they talk directly to your brain and they talk to you in English. And yeah. Mr. Miller is getting that way real quick.
Very cool.
He already knows how to eat off a fork and a spoon.
That's awesome.
So what else do we want to talk about besides my marvelous animals?
Oh, actually, there's some stuff I'd love to know about your past. You know, there's only been so much really into your story other than the little blurb, Project Camelot. You know, like for instance, I know like how you'd be considered first generation super soldier, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And out of curiosity, was that Project Talent, was that around to recruit you, or was that sort of something that kind of happened over the course with that first generation that you're in?
Well, it's all part of what was Project Paperclip, where they brought over all the German doctors and scientists who had worked on this program in Germany. And I was selected because my mother is Celtic, my father's Sicilian. And I had memories of being with my uncle Ed, who was a peddler who could sell fire to the devil. And after I got out of the service, and I was up seeing my mother, who was in she was in a convalescent home because she couldn't take care of herself. None of us lived close enough to do it. I said, Mom, I got a question. She said, what? I says, I have these memories of being with my Uncle Ed in the summer times from the time I was 6 to the time I was 12. She said, you were never with your Uncle Ed. I said, where was I? She said, you'll figure it out. And then the next time I come up, and she gave me a look and said that time, she says, don't ask any more questions. Well, you know, my mother, I understood that. So I come up a couple weeks later, because it was a 5-hour drive from where I lived to where she was. And she said, I want you to read something. She handed me a journal she had kept all the time I was in the service. Wow. Every time I got hurt, she had the exact time, the exact place I was in the world, what I was doing, and who I was with. I said, Mother, this is classified above top secret information. She says, I don't care. I said, how'd you get this? She said, I have a mental bond with you that I have with nobody else. And, of course, I burnt that journal because what I did you don't want to talk about.
Understandable.
Well, my father was also associated with the mafia. With a name like Corso, coming from Termini Air Maurice in Palermo, Sicily. I was raised also in the mafia ways. And my father had a 540-acre farm on which we had pigs, cows, that he raised for our big grocery store back in Pennsylvania. And Dad says, well, it's time. He said, we got to go out to the farm tonight. I said, why? He said, it's time you learn some things. So I went out with my father, and, gee, this black limousine pulled up, and the Godfather come out, and, you know, everyone kisses rings at me, and I just shook his hand and said, good evening, Godfather, what can I do for you? And he said, you haven't changed, have you? And I said, no, and I never will. He said, I like that. So they've got this individual out who apparently had done something against the family. And they handed the shotgun to my father and said, Tom, it's your turn. And my dad just looked, so I took the shotgun and I shot this guy. I was 14 years old. We threw him over, you know, he had enough cuts on him, but we just threw him in the pig pen, you know, and 30 minutes later there wasn't even a jawbone left.
Thorough.
Yep, and that's what happened to, who's a guy who was a union head that disappeared they can't find. Whatever his name was. Wow. Well, then I went into service, and because I was a bad boy when I was a teenager. From the time I was 12 to the time I was 18 when I went into service, I ran with a gang that was 8 to 12 years older than myself. And from day one, I was accepted as an equal. Didn't have to prove myself to anybody. And we got in trouble every now and then, like once a week, sometimes more. And the judge said, well, you're going to go into service? I said, yes, sir, I'm going in the Marine Corps. And he said, no, you're not. You're not allowed to join the Marine Corps, and it's right here in this court order. So my father paid the fine and says, when are you going into service? I said, oh, as soon as I get out on the list. So I went into the Navy, became an electronic technician. When I was waiting for orders to a carrier, the runner come down to the office and said, Seaman Corso, there's a Navy captain who wants to see you. I said, describe. He says, well, I said, craggy face, medals up and down both sides of his chest, medals hanging out his ass, and looks like a Greek god. I said, yeah, he's a goddamn Greek named. What the hell's his name? Christ, I can't remember what his name is. And that's what I love about PTSD is the fact that it's up here in my brain, I can see it, but I can't pronounce the name. Did I do any prison time? Yeah, I've done prison time. Have you? After Dark Radio.
In this day and age, it's not that hard to find yourself behind bars, to be honest.
Nope.
Not that I have, but I'm just saying, really, honestly, the laws are kind of set up that way, aren't they?
Nope. It happened down in Mexico, too. I was down there with my team, and we ran across some Hells Angels, and we started drinking and having a good time, and the cops come in and threw us all in jail. Did I take it in the ass? No, I didn't. Did you take it in the ass, steak sauce? Yes or no?
There's how it goes with the chat room sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's why I can sit here and talk.
Yeah. So that was interesting. So they let. So just out of curiosity, just real quick, out of from what story. So that at first they didn't want to let you enlist because of your record or because of what your past, or was that they just wanted you to go into the Navy, or was that the thing?
Well, I knew that because I was born and raised in a town of 800 people in Pennsylvania, 60 miles north of Pittsburgh, right on the Allegheny River. And I knew that there was nothing in that town for me. And my ticket to get out of there was to go into service. But to make a long story short, after I went up and talked to Captain Freeman, I was instantaneously in the Marine Corps. And I was in the Marine Corps from 1960, legally 61 to 76. And I did black operations all the time I was in. Douche is spelled D-O-U-C-H-E, Colleen.
And the black ops that you were doing, was that kind of like how Aaron says his experience was, where you have like the normal Marine job and then you'd have these other assignments? Is that kind of how it went?
No.
You're just straight up all the way in black ops then, huh?
Yep.
Interesting. And so that was during Vietnam, correct?
Well, from 61 through 68 when I got out legally. What kind of black ops sort of destiny? The kind you don't talk about.
Yeah, I'm sure the kind that didn't really exist, like in Cambodia and all these other places. That, of course, we don't know anything happened there. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Let me interrupt a minute. It's like I said at the Awake and Aware when Duncan O'Fannon and I were talking. My first meeting with Duncan O'Fannon that I recall was when my team and I were sent over to bail out a Army Special Forces team in Cambodia that got into some problems. And there was at least 2,000 or more probably Viet Cong. And they had every kind of weapon you could think of. They had AK-47s, M16s, M14s. And I called back and said, I need some backup here. Oh, you're welcome, Don. Thank you, or Thomas Don. Thank you very much. This CH-47 schnook comes in, and these kids come out. I mean, kids, young teenagers. And this one had a big afro haircut, and he was white. And this little dark-skinned girl was with him. And they put their hands together, formed a circle, and there was this blinding flash. No sound. And the shooting all stopped. I looked at the chopper, and there was an officer there that I'll never forget his face. Exactly right, Hoy. They all dropped dead. And these kids got back in the chopper and flew off. So now I was talking to the sergeant major who was in charge of this Special Forces detachment. I says, what did you see? He said, man, there was a blinding flash. He said, and everything stopped. I says, I got 2 more choppers on the way, and let's get the hell out of here.
Interesting. So, wow, that's how many people were in the got out of the chopper? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was 13.
Wow. Huh. Interesting.
And sometime later, in March of '67, I'm at I want to say Nha Trang. No, it's not Nha Trang. There's an Air Force base that was south of Quy Nhon. Anyways, I'm there, and this kid with the long hair, the big fluffy, comes out and gets in a chopper. And as they go to take off, he gets hit by fire and knocked down, and I pulled this kid out. Who was that kid? Duncan O'Fannin. Now, let's fast forward to, let me think about this, 1992. There's a guy comes in my computer shop that I had here for a while, and when I first saw this guy, my first instinct was to kill him. But I said, wait a minute. Why do I feel like that? I got to get to know this guy. And interestingly enough, his name was John Morrow. So about 2 months later, John says, hey, I'll answer that question in a little bit, Thomas. I got some people I want you to meet that live here. I said, okay. He says, how about meeting up at the casino tonight about 7? I said, fine. Walked in, and there's Duncan O'Fannin and his friend Shanna. I looked at Duncan, I said, I know you. I looked at her, and I said, I know you. And they looked at each other and says, and we know you. And John Morrow looked at me, and his face was white. I says, how about that, John? John says, I didn't know. I said, yes, you did. Sort of destiny, I'll get to that, because mine was totally different than what they're getting today. So Duncan and I are still friends. Let's see. Swords of Destiny, I got your question. I'll take it in queue.
This is awesome, Dave. Thanks for doing my work for me here.
All right. Did I ever know Aaron beside the talk show circuit? Yeah. He was on 2 missions with us. Funny thing about it, he was the only one without a sidearm or a firearm.
Can you talk to me about those missions at all?
Duncan and I were down in the Caribbean on St. Thomas Island. And we had been out to dinner Tuesday evening, and I said, I'm going to take a shower. Well, the next thing I knew, I'm standing in the shower, and I'm looking. I said, what day is it? And the announcer on TV said it was Thursday. This is Thursday evening news. I said, where have we been for 2 days? Dunk looked at me with his blank stare and said, "Have we been gone?" I said, "Apparently, because my hand smells like gunpowder."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "I don't know." I said, "Neither do I." So we were talking about that later, and I said there was somebody else with us. And after we met Aaron McCollum, Dunk and I were talking again. And I said, "Yeah, it was Aaron." He said, "No firearm?" I said, "No firearm." Now, let's talk about another interesting point about that.
Okay.
Yeah, but that video game is based on real-life special forces type things. Call of Duty, Black Ops.
There you go, folks, in our unsolicited commercial.
Yep.
I actually haven't had a chance to play yet, but seems like it's pretty cool.
No, Hoyer, I've never heard of that. So anyways, we did Black Ops. We did operations all over the world, including here in the United States. Thomas, why would they send him out unarmed? Well, figure it out. Only trusted people got firearms.
Yeah, it's interesting because I actually did talk to Aaron about. I'm not sure. You guys may want to confer on that experience because I asked him about that thing when Duncan when he posted that, and Aaron says he doesn't recall a time that he wasn't armed, and he has the logs that apparently show that he's one of the people who's authorized to carry a firearm even in the Coast Guard.
I would like to see those records.
Yeah, like I say, you'll have to talk with him on that one. This, all secondhand, of course.
Aaron, it's interesting. Aaron has promised several times to call me and talk to me. He hasn't done it yet. He didn't even tell his family that he was going to get married. And he put this thing up that said he talked to his family and he felt that they thought it was best he didn't contact them. No. His dad lives here in where I live, and his dad and I are good friends. His dad's also a first generation.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron didn't even tell his dad he was getting married. He won't even talk to his dad.
Yeah, I know that there's a bit of a family schism there.
And it's not because his family doesn't want to communicate with him.
Yeah, I know there's quite a bit of reconciliation that needs to go on in all these circles, really, including yourself and Duncan and Aaron, because I think all of us are obviously here wanting the same thing, and it just seems like there's a lot of communication barriers right now that really just need to be addressed. And but I think obviously everyone wants I know Aaron wants the best for you. You guys want everyone to thrive here. So it's not about any malicious intent, of course. So I think it's good that we communicate, at least our stories, because it's not even necessarily about being right or wrong. Because I'm considering, the extreme situation both yourself, Duncan, and Aaron have been in concerning memory. It's understandable there's going to be discrepancies, and who's to say who's right? And honestly, at this point, how much does it matter? Because there's the future we're building here. And it's the big things, obviously, I think in a lot of people's mind from what I saw as a complete outside source in a lot of ways, is that a lot of people were worried about everyone's credibility, yours, Duncan's, Aaron's, and what happens is you guys actually kind of validified each other at the same time, because I think everyone was looking for one of you guys to call each other out as being a complete fraud, and obviously that didn't happen. Obviously that's not what's happening. So
no.
Obviously this is there's a big picture thing going on here, really. So
I'm going to talk about something that's rarely ever talked about, but was brought out in one of Jesse Ventura's programs.
Oh, great.
And that is memory implantation. False memory implantation that's particularly prevalent among Project Talon graduates, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And Duncan O'Fannin brought up an interesting point when he and I were talking. He brought this out at the Awaken Aware convention we had in September of 2009. You can have a memory, but until you can back that memory up with at least 2 or 3 other sources, it's just a memory.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of memories, but until I can prove, there's at least two other sources, that it's just a memory.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I'm doing a lot of research on that because I'm going to have another interview on this with Rebecca Jernigan sometime later.
Interesting. But that is a very good point to bring up there in terms of implanted memories. And the more information we've got now about the MILABs and military abductions, the more we hear about this as well. So, I can, and it's, how it is. It's like it's so messed up that that our servicemen and women are guinea pigs for all this stuff too. So obviously, it's like it wouldn't surprise me that some of these things are implanted. So, that is a very, very valid point for sure.
Now, Sword of Destiny has a question. Back in the day when I was in the military, did we know about the project where they trained soldiers to stare at goats? Now they're training? No. But then again, Project Talon is part of like 97 other projects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so how was your training then as the first generation super soldier? What are some of the things that you did?
My training was this. I was a team leader. I took bits and pieces and I could make a picture of it. And I have at least 12 alters. But mine are different. I don't switch personalities and become someone other than who I am, because part of me, Dave Corso, always sits here. Like the other night when I had a discussion with Sam Maguzzi, and she triggered alter number 8, which I never knew was there. And that was interesting because I'm going to use this expression this way. The left half of me sat there and watched the right half of me, perfectly conscious of everything number 8 was saying. And I was probably more surprised than anybody else at what he said.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what alters. Let me think. 5, 6, A and B. 5, 6, 7, A and B do. I didn't know about what number 8 did. Number 8's an investigator. Number 6 is the one that's in charge. Number 5 collects information that's not investigative in nature. 7 is a target designator. A and B are the selector and the sniper.
Interesting.
And to learn about all this stuff really is mind-bending, to say the least.
Yeah, literally.
It just bends my mind.
Yeah. Now, those different personalities, were those implanted, or were those are those now what you've identified now and sort of categorized?
Well, let's put it this way. What they do is they find a way to take a child and split their personality. They can use drugs, they can use physical torture, they can use mental torture, they can use sexual torture. Me, because I have an inherent extreme dislike for reptiles, I had shall we say, a vision one night when I was going to sleep of being in a casket with snakes and frogs and toads and lizards and all kinds of reptiles, which I thoroughly despise, because the only good one is a dead one as far as I'm concerned. Hoyer, I'm not going to do that. George and I have had several talks. No, I didn't run across Jesse Marchenko, but he said his furthest confirmed kill was 965 yards, and that's handgun range anymore. He used to live here, but he died. I've never heard about that one either. But I lost track of where I was. Where was I?
The reptiles and how the everything was implanted, or
yes, steak sauce. If you want to see me go bonkers, throw a snake at me.
Like Indiana Jones.
Exactly. I go bonkers. But yet I got two dogs here that love to eat the big toads we have here.
I'm sure that's no coincidence.
No, I haven't been chipped. But I found out from a psychic that I have 4 crystal chips in my head. One at 4 o'clock, one at 7 o'clock, one at 11 o'clock underneath my right eye, and I forget what she said the 4th one was. But they don't show up on CAT scans. No, Paul, I don't scream like a girl and run. I get really nasty.
That's So did they use the reptile trigger was one of the things that was that what they used to kind of splinter the personalities then? Is that kind of how it worked?
It had to be what they did to me.
Gotcha. Now was that before? Was that after you enlisted, or was this kind of like
that was when I was 6 at the time I was 12. I would only go away in the summertime.
Oh, okay.
I was a summer school participant.
Gotcha.
You can only do that with metallic chips swords. Did I ever meet any terrestrial beings? And I've seen a lot of their technology. Flying saucers, so on and so forth.
Did you run into that during your Black Ops missions and such?
Yeah, when the Air Force shot down 3 of them over Vietnam.
Wow.
And
were you present at?
Hang on. You're starting to break up.
All right. I'm sorry about that. My Skype just cut out. So I'm not sure what I missed there. So, wait. Oh, Dave is on mute. Okay, we're having some technical difficulties with switchboard here. I got up and apparently Dave came in. So I'm trying to get Dave back there as soon as okay, I think I am back on the air now, hopefully. I think I'm back on. So if anyone in the chat room can confirm for me that I'm back in, that would be awesome. And it appears that Dave got dropped too. I think the switchboard here kind of malfunctioned on me or something, but obviously I got dropped, and Dave actually just messaged me and will be back with us shortly. But it's okay. It's always nice to reset sometimes anyways, so we can kind of reboot and just reorganize, regroup, and keep heading back towards our destination here. So we'll be waiting for Dave to call back. And I'm just kind of contacting him right now. Okay, there we go. We have Dave back now. Welcome back, Dave. We made it.
Thank you. That was interesting.
Wasn't it, though? Yeah.
That seems to happen frequently when I'm either interviewing or being interviewed.
You know, it's funny. We obviously our guest lineup tends to have people that talk about sensitive subjects, and then here I was asking about UFO incidents that I think no one has really talked about before. So feel like talking about it?
Well, with what I know.
Great.
But there were some interesting questions in the chat room.
But actually, I am kind of interested if you did have any firsthand experience with those two UFOs shot down in Vietnam.
And we had to go make sure that the bodies, the grays, were taken out. The air came in and recovered the saucers themselves. Thank you, Tamara. It's nice to be back.
Yeah, that's interesting. So so that means you saw like the craft and everything then, right?
First, there's two questions there. Thomas, I'm not worried about the chips. I'm going to take care of that later. And what type of metal for Swords of Destiny? What type of metal? I don't know, but it's light, strong, and it doesn't heat up too much when you go through the atmosphere at 25,000 mile an hour.
So pretty well tempered.
Pretty light too. But we were allowed to go in and get the bodies out, and that's it. We weren't allowed to play with it.
Darn.
I know. I felt the same way. Hang on a second. I got to put you down for a second. I got to go take care of something. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem at all. So it's great that everyone was able to connect again, and we have so much participation today in the chat room. So and I would just ask everyone tries to keep the questions within the context of what we're talking about at the time right now, and we'll get to everything, of course. Moving along fairly well, getting some interesting new information here. I know I was interested about downed UFOs as much as I'm sure a lot of people in the audience are, both live and in the archives. Because we don't tend to hear about these things, and so it's nice to know when we have service men and women who can say like, yeah, I moved the gray bodies. It just helps to really solidify that concept in the collective consciousness here, and really make it more normal as much as it can be, for all of us.
Gee, what's normal?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We're helping to redefine that right now by sharing stories of little gray people. So.
Yes, Sword. I'd like to have a rifle made out of that material too.
I bet. Yeah, I can imagine. That thing would never wear down or anything.
Did I ever get in contact with the ET? Yeah. Several times.
That's interesting. Now, is this like kind of like face-to-face direct conversations and such?
Yeah, because when I was talking to Sam Maguzzi, she triggered a memory that when she and I talked about it personally later, she said she had already seen that. What do I think they are? Well, they're kind of organic. But they're not like the new super soldiers, which have a metal frame with a human body on top. They can pass every examination except X-ray, CAT scanner, and MRI.
Now, would that be a fifth generation, or would that be sixth generation?
Underclass hero? No, I don't know what's in the lower floors of Area 51, but I can tell you what's on the fourth lower level down in White Sands Proving Ground.
Ooh, that would be interesting. What's there?
There is a room there that's about the size of... The room is probably 100 by 100 and about 20 feet tall. In that room back in the corner, they have a Stargate. But it's not like the Stargate you see on TV. It has a circle around it, but it has a door. And I wasn't allowed to go through the door, but I was there with my team. And I have 3 aliens in my team that are just about, I'm 5'11", they're just about as tall as I am, but they're really stocky built, but they have a kind of a metallic blue skin, and they speak English very well.
And so they look pretty much human? They
definitely look human, except their eyes are sort of almond-shaped.
Oh.
And when we were in the room, there was a red and a green human being. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about the Pine Gap base in Australia. And the one red guy, he's a reptilian, actually. So is the green guy. Green guy's friendly, the red guy's not. Red guy doesn't like me. Because, am I a believer in Jesus Christ? Absolutely. And Sam told me where they're from, but I don't remember it. I didn't write it down either. You're welcome. You're welcome, Heavenly Lay One. Or is that supposed to be light?
Or maybe Lee. I don't know. Either way. So how many people were in your team?
By the way, they're Dee Dee. And I don't know. I wasn't allowed to go through the Stargate, Murray. I don't praise him. I thank him every day for everything I've got in this life. Everything I've gotten, I've been given to take care of as a responsibility, including my animals there, Sword Destiny. But I found out that there's something in my body that if I get too close to this guy, whatever's in my body will kill him. Have I been off planet? Not to my knowledge. But then again, by the same token, when I first met there we go again.
Yeah. It's interesting. Everyone in the chat room, we need we can't keep jumping around different questions here. I know Dave's awesome enough to be able to just whip these things out, but if you want a good answer, we're going to have to go on some kind of line here, everyone. So try to keep the questions on the context of what we're talking about. And this Stargate in this base sounds very interesting, though. Was what the door you mentioned? Was it just like a regular door, or was this how did that work?
It was like a metal. Itself? It was about maybe 5 feet wide and 10 feet tall. And so were you just kind of guarding it at the time, or is it just something you were doing in that
area and just had to leave afterwards or something.
I don't recall going through the Stargate.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't allowed. No, it wasn't underwater. It was in a room. But I was there for a reason. I can't pull out what that reason is yet. I mean, the door's open, the light's on, but I can't step into that memory and figure out what it is yet.
Hmm.
Do I have any knowledge about the Stargate in the Gulf of Aden? Nah. Did I see it open? Nope.
That's interesting. So, do you know that are these Stargates common in various bases, or are these just limited to certain things?
I have to, with the understanding that I have to think that they're more common than what they're letting on.
Ah. That's
Words of Destiny, I'll get to that sooner or later.
So, yeah, it seems like we're hearing more and more stories about different Stargates or even teleportation devices these days. So, which kind of leads me to another question of so these bases, I mean, so are they staffed by thousands of people? I mean, if so, where are all these people? Do they just stay underground pretty much, or how does that work?
That's a good question. Who built the Stargates? Someone a lot more intelligent than what we have here on this Earth today.
Yeah.
What do I have to say about the future of this planet and humanity? Things will fall out as they're supposed to fall out.
Interesting. But yeah, like I said, I'm definitely curious about the like I said, these, and I've even posed this question to Aaron too about this. It's how I just kind of it still kind of boggles my mind thinking about the amount of people that would be required to have this kind of operation going, and and is how I guess in that recent Project Avalon interview with Charles, how I talked about all these just day-to-day workers that are truck drivers and stuff like that. So is that something that's common? I mean, do they in these underground bases or in all these things, do they hire just normal people who just don't say anything about this, or is it staff of people who don't leave the base and just are in that society and that's it?
I have a very good friend who's been my friend for over 42 years that used to be a long-haul truck driver. He drove into several bases that were underground, and all he did was pull in, back his trailer in, pull up, pick up another empty one, and leave.
Ah.
And there were military people there that were guiding him in and out. No questions were to be asked, no talking.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. It does make sense, though, considering the anonymity that I can imagine that's required for a lot of these clandestine operations. So, did you have any experience with some of the other research that went on at some of these bases, into anti-gravitic propulsion or DNA or cloning, things like that?
No, that wasn't my thing in life.
That's cool.
We did primarily assassinations and intelligence gathering.
Gotcha.
Now, Trucker Ruby Blue says, did I answer the question on the RHs? What's the RH? I forget.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the RH is either. Yeah, but that's I understand how everyone has their different roles. So, that's interesting. So you tend to be go to different places around the world, carrying out different operations, pretty much.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
I had $1 million a year budget I didn't have to account for.
Oh wow.
No, I don't know anything about that except I'm an A positive. Is ET life form present in those underground bases? Yes, I have to believe that they're at all bases.
Yeah, when in doubt it. Especially considering how we're saying that...
Such projects, You want my personal opinion on that? It was Satan.
Definitely some chaos being brought in from that angle.
Oh yeah, that's going to cause a lot of hate and discontent.
Hey, that's how it goes, and how we talk about here anyways. It's we're in a unified consciousness, and it's all part of the same field anyways. God, whatever you want to call it. So that's how it goes, man. Good with the bad. So, but actually, we are at the top of the hour here, and usually we take a break. So I'll go ahead and play a little musical interlude here, and give you a chance to go ahead and grab something to drink, hit the restroom again, whatever, as well as anyone in the audience here, and then we'll jump right back into it. It seems like everyone's just full of questions today, so definitely be able to keep it going. So I'm going to play one of the favorites here. We have about 5 minutes. Go do your thing, and we'll see everyone back here.
Alrighty, that's the short. That's why I said.
Oops. Sorry.
pumpkin pie, milled about the intense little hole. No reaper, just a candle in my hand. And I'm the lit and watch my eyes glow.
Thank you, everybody, once again, for sticking with us for our second hour here on Universal Truth Evolution Blog Talk Radio. I am your host, once again, Jerry Avalos, and we have our guest here today with us on an intriguing conversation with Dave Corso. And just for the chat room and for the archives, that song was just playing is one of our favorites here, done by an artist named Kirk Ross, and it's called Pumpkin Poem. And it's interesting because it does have the Area 51 mention of the gleaming elements, 115 atomic weight. And here we are talking about some of the places where this science was being done with our guest here. So how's it going, Dave? Feeling refreshed there after our break?
Yeah. I'm glad you people weren't listening because my dogs thought someone came to the front door, so they were barking their greeting.
Ah. Nice.
Okay. Two things I want to go into real quick. When I have been off-world before, obviously more than once, but not through the Stargate. When I met Miriam Delicato for the first time, this marvelous lady said, "Take off your glasses." And I did, and she looked in and she looked right down, clear to the bottom of my soul. She says, "I have a memory of you being on a ship, and I don't know if it was a spaceship or a waterborne ship." She said, "But you had a crew that utterly hated you, but by God, they'd have followed you through hell." And I says, "Right now, I don't have a memory of that, but they probably did follow me through hell several times." And we both had a good laugh about that. And we got to know each other over that weekend. And about a month later, I'm pondering about this, and I says, "Okay, I need to know what this was about." And I went to bed, and I had a long dream. It was a spaceship, and I was taking her to meet her blue-eyed, blonde-haired guides. And I called her up, and we talked at some length about that.
Interesting.
And she said, "Let me think about that." And she thought about it. She says, "You're right. That was my first trip off-world." So apparently I've been to places I don't have a memory of yet.
Yeah, that's not really surprising to me, considering I said that your extraordinary background. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of your life will be unfolding in front of you that came from behind as much as it does in the future. So, but then considering what as we know, time is really just an illusion created by consciousness. So, interesting that I think, and in a lot of ways, I think your role here is to help the rest of the world understand what time really means by, by sharing your experiences like these. So,
one of my callings in this life is to be that of a teacher.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, there's a couple quick questions that were answered in the chat room I can answer real quick.
Go for it.
Let me look back through here. How do I get in touch with my spirit dogs? Well, my spirit canines. I say, "Okay, I got this problem. What should I do about it now? Or what do you have for me today?" And sometimes I get an answer I like, and sometimes I don't. They talk to my brain.
That's a good way to put it.
And how do I... That's that. And okay, have I ever heard of Project Unicorn? No. A lot of projects I haven't heard about. I don't have the answers to everything. I got some answers. If you want an answer for something, you got to go dig it up, folks. I can't emphasize that enough. Don't be afraid to research it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I had talked about the moon. Yeah, I've been to the moon several times. And another time of this, when Sam and I were doing this impromptu interview, I don't know that I get off-world messages, Thomas. I was in a spaceship in charge, and my team was behind me, as usual, with the 3 blue guys. And we flew around the moon, and there's a base on the back side of the moon where they're mining something called helium-3, which they're going to use to power their electric generators here on this Earth, or reactors, or whatever they are. And there's windows in there. You can't see them from the outside, but they can see out from the inside. Siberian Gecko, I wished I could. I wished I could give you an answer to that. It was the dark side of the moon. They've had bases on the dark side of the moon since the 40s, when the Germans went there first, just like they went to Mars in 1942. Yeah, so, I do, but I can't remember where they're from. A lot of times I get information that goes in one ear and out the other.
So was this one trip
all the
from
fear I've gone through? You just deal with it. Fear is when you don't understand something. There's a lot I don't understand, but I'm not afraid of it. I can't be intimidated.
So
my fear is I'm not going to be able to take care of all my animals when push comes to shove. No, I don't know anything about John Cyril.
So this trip to the moon here, what other information did you get about that? Cause you said started talking about the dark side of the moon. So was there did you have some experience there with on the other side of the moon then?
Just landing and taking off. And what's interesting about the moon is hollow. It's a spaceship, folks. It was put here to balance this Earth out.
Yeah, it seemed that way, considering its rotation, or lack thereof, shall we say.
It's like that Mars, the Phoebus. Yeah, the Phoebus, the Martian moon.
Yeah.
That's a spaceship.
Yeah. There's some interesting angular markings on that too, and in some of the recent satellite pictures that you can make out. So, but yeah, Phobos on Mars, definitely. So that's interesting. So you've probably had so many experiences that really you've yet to really experience in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. So do you find that these memories come back to you in flashes or in dreams or anything like that?
Then I sit here and I think about all the bits and pieces, and I take a mosaic and make a picture out of it.
Yeah. Considering how you were saying earlier about how you like to, verify the memories to make sure they're more than just memories and they're actual events. Definitely important, I'm sure. Although I can imagine that it's almost impossible with some of the more extraordinary experiences dealing with the clandestine operations, especially off-world stuff or underground stuff. So I can imagine that's quite a challenge.
It gets interesting at times.
I bet. Yeah.
Dracula says, what do I think about Colleen Thomas? She's a very interesting woman. And she's saying what she firmly believes. And until it's proven wrong, I'll believe her. And how's Duncan? Duncan's doing fine. He's just, shall we say, protecting himself in alley. He's had several threats made against his life.
Yeah, I've seen in his blog, mentioned that he was traveling, so is that kind of what he's just on walkabout, so to speak, now?
That's a good question. He communicates with me when he has a need to. And I respect that for him.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, After Dark Radio, did you know that wolves can actually see your aura?
Yeah, it's interesting that dogs especially are pretty much in that spirit world all the time. So the dogs are very psychic. I don't think people realize how psychic dogs are. So
what's interesting about wolves is they are very sociable critters, and people think they're dangerous because of the old wives' tales that have been spread about them for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 wolves I keep in a big cage out back that I let out run with my other dogs, and they run over and talk to my horses, and they run back. There's no fights.
It's cool. Yeah, those are definitely very neat animals, for sure. Gotta love those dogs, wolves, massive beasts. Very cool though, and yeah, because they're by nature social animals with the pack, so it just makes sense. I mean, if you treat them like family, you are family to them because that's how they think. So,
never talk to a canine like it's baby. You'd never baby talk them.
Mm-hmm.
How many dogs do you have, Thomas? I have 3 dogs, 4 half. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 dogs, 5 dogs. No. I got to think 4. No, I have 4 dogs, 4 half-breed wolves that are the funniest ones in the world, and I got 3 purebreds.
That's very cool. So I bet I'm really curious to see what the half wolves look like too. That'd be I'm sure they're really, really amazing looking actually.
You ought to come over and visit sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to. I like going out to the desert too. One of my favorite locations, really.
What are my thoughts on the sudden increase in psychics and people awakening? I think it's because humans here that are awake and aware are doing their job.
That's a good way to put it.
Which will happen when it happens. No, After Dark, the lion frequency is not the highest. The wolf is.
Yeah, and I kind of look at frequencies all in octaves anyways. It's kind of like, C above middle C is better because it's higher. No, it's still C, So, because we all are part of that unified field, and, how you're saying we have to honor, the animals especially, and so, but yeah, that's very cool that you tend to all the different wolves and dogs. You said you have horses too, you said?
Yeah, I have 2 horses.
Oh, very neat, very neat. Yeah, the horses have great spirits. Like just being around them, they have this very powerful raw energy. It's very cool.
You're right, Bill. All dogs sprang from wolves, and wolves are very shy. If they don't know you, they will stand back and bark at you.
Huh. That's
Gee, Prometheus, I do have one. It's called Pig Radio now.
That's awesome. That's a good. That's actually an excellent segue because I'm not sure if everyone is aware that you're really pretty much the official host now on Project Information Generation.
You're a part-time. You're a part host too.
Yeah, I'm definitely there to support you guys for sure. But I would say you're definitely the main torchbearer, on that side. But yeah, we're all allies here, of course. And
tonight I'm going to interview Laura Magdalene Eisenhower.
Awesome. That's always a fun time. So yeah, everyone, be sure to check that out. I think a lot of people in our audience here are fans of hers as well, and like hearing what she has to speak on. So it's more goodness for everyone out there to catch up on. Get Get your afternoon dose with UTE, then head over to Pig and have even more scrumptious awareness to come by.
And next week I'm going to be interviewing Sam Maguzzi and George Cavalos, I guess is his name.
Very cool.
No,
That's
tomorrow I wasn't. 9 to 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, that's always a great show over there, Project Information Generation. And has Jeremy Prone started hosting any shows yet himself too?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, great. I've been so backlogged with everything myself. I've even missed a lot of the new Jesse Ventura shows and stuff. I just have to sit and catch up on my research. As you're saying, it's important that we all do that. Just doing it too, not even necessarily to prove anyone right or wrong, just to get more awareness, like we're saying, that because how the question is asked earlier about the shifting awareness and this increase in abilities. It's like you do it by increasing your awareness. So.
And yet, I have two sons, and they both think I'm crazy. But you know what's neat about that? That's their opinion.
Yeah.
And they're still my sons, and we all love each other.
That's awesome. Yeah, we have to honor each other's path. And hey, what's up there, Jeremy? Nice to see you in the chat room.
Is Jerome in here?
Yeah, he's in here.
It's 5.
It's like one big family here at the UT and Project Information Generation. So everyone in the archives, head over there too. There's been, I think, years now of awesome information brought through Pig Radio, and so it's really cool movement here that we got going. So all here to inform, and for free. You can't beat that, right? So, but yeah, I had another question for you, because I was wondering if you had any experience with Seagate, since we're on the subject of bases. Did you ever have any dealings with any of Seagate affairs?
There's one down off the coast of Puerto Rico that I had to have gone through several times on missions to South America.
Huh.
But a conscious memory that I can say definitely no, but Dunk has one, and so does Aaron McCullum. At least one, possibly more.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So, so it really does sound like these portals and gates are all over the place. I mean, I know you're aware, and a lot of the audience is aware too, that I was born a natural lucid dreamer, and so I've in these astral states, I've seen some of these portals, and so it's interesting seeing that, like, how apparently they sit on natural locations and such. So it just makes sense, like how you see all these military bases and such put in these locations for not a coincidence, So I wouldn't doubt that there's probably more of these things than any one person realizes.
Nothing happens by accident. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting when you take a look at what goes on in the world. Let me pull up a document here real quick. I wrote something yesterday when I was talking to Vonda Allen from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Let me open this thing up.
Yeah.
I gotta find it.
Yeah, no problem. While you're looking, I'll take this chance to inform our audience and hear it in the archives that be sure to check out our now active domain, which links you to our blog at universaltruthevolution.com. It's kind of a little barren right now, but we're going to be working away like crazy this week and weekend to get that posted with all the links that we mentioned, at least some of the links we mentioned, in the archives in these shows. So that way those in the archives can follow some of the documentation that's linked during some of these discussions. So, because that is an important part. We can't just back things up with hearsay. You know, we need to have those multiple verifying sources, like Dave was talking about earlier. You know, in terms of memory, and it works the same way with what's going on in current events, because that's really the global conscious memory, and it's our way of really kind of solidifying what we're all seeing here as a collective. And as we do that more to what we want, we manifest more what we want. So, like more interesting news stuff on the news instead of, you know, having to dig for it all the time. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I had a thought the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes like this. Whatever it seems to be does not mean that's what it is.
Very true.
Is it not actually what it actually is? Except for it is being observed, felt, experienced, or seen, and is being interpreted by you for what you want to think it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Added a subnote, everything is relative to what it is. True
enough. It's very true. That gets into the concept of what purity, I guess you can say, really is. I think people have that synonymized with good, but that's not really the entirely true. But how you're saying it's you know, a stable loop back onto itself, and that's really kind of the nature of this paradoxical reality that we're experiencing. Any luck on finding that document there, Dave?
Yeah, I did. That's what I just read to you.
Oh, awesome. That's great. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
What the status is of the upcoming Mark Ultra conference? I haven't been contacted yet.
So was there
what does that all? It means they just didn't contact me. That's all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cause was there supposed to be another MK Ultra conference? I know the other one ran into too many snafus there, so I didn't even know if there was going to be another one. So.
Has my self-termination trigger been activated? Yeah. I looked at the gun, put the gun to my head, and said, "Why do I do this?" Shot a hole in the ceiling, put the gun down, never thought about it since then. Do I
That's awesome.
be a zombie epidemic? No. I don't believe in zombies. However, they may camouflage some fifth or sixth generations as zombies.
Huh. That would be kind of funny. What are your thoughts on Project Bluebeam? Do you think that's something that, you know, the powers that be would try, faking some extraterrestrial hoopa-joop?
Yes.
Yeah.
That spiral that showed up in Sweden or Norway, that was a test run.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that, especially considering how it was you know, right around the time of the Nobel Peace Prize ceremonies and such. So, you know, as we say, nothing's a coincidence. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. And just to let our listeners know, too, that, you know, if anyone wants to call in, feel free. We'd love to have you online, have a chat with us here. The number is 661-621-7530. So, since this definitely is like, it turned into a great question and answer session here. So, very cool. Got this great interaction going on here.
Tamara, how do I actually leave special projects? I don't think you ever do. Like I say, I wasn't aware of being used until that time that Dunk and I went down to St. Thomas Island.
Interesting. So, like, in a sense, like right now, is there any way, in a sense, that you would still be being used?
That could very well be, but if it is, I'm not conscious of it.
Makes sense. I'm sure, like, you know, just in terms of logistics, they would factor you in that sense. So, you know, makes sense. So.
You never leave them off of you, Thomas. Underclass hero, don't be afraid of me. I'm just an ordinary, average guy who lives in a paranormal, normal world.
With lots of wolves.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
Not
cool.
that I'm aware of, Joseph, outside of the time down with Dunk.
But
do I find myself missing time? Nope. Tune in to Big Radio next Thursday night from 9 to 11 tomorrow. You'll find out.
And that question is concerning further generation of super soldiers. So.
Yeah, the 6th generation is absolutely incredible. Their 5th generation only improved, but.
So they finally outsourced to Honda and get that engine in them, you know.
Aaron, here. Hi, Aaron. How are you? Call me sometime. You got the number.
Yeah.
I live in Southwest Nevada, 65 miles west of Las Vegas, in the desert, in a cave.
That's awesome. Man cave, living the dream. So, but yeah, so that's this is actually pretty interesting. This is kind of cool. I think we obviously generate a lot of interest in the chat room. We usually don't get bombarded with questions like this, so it's kind of funny when we get this little lull. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It's my job to ask questions too. So.
Hey, Aaron, you got to come over and meet Mr. Merlo, Herc's replacement. That's right, Hoyer. 2 of them can lift a tank, but they had trouble with the skin till they got it right.
Where do they tend to use the 5 gens?
That's an interesting question. There's at least 15,000.
Wow.
And from what I've been able to put together, they're here to enforce martial law when it comes.
So they got the illuminators out on patrol, huh?
Yeah.
To protect and serve, I'm sure, right?
Oh. Aaron, where do you meet Mr. Merlo? That's the 27th, Tamara.
Yeah. So tune in to Project Information Generation Radio on Blog Talk to learn more about the 6th generation super soldier with Dave Corso.
And George Cavasal, I can't ever pronounce his last name. Cavasal.
Yeah, I'm not really sure myself. That's why I'm not even trying. so I'm like, my hat's off to you. Thank you for doing that for me, and much respect. So when we get him on the show, I'm gonna listen to him say it, so I'll rehearse. But yeah, see, this is cool. See, there actually is somewhat of a communication bridge going on here. We got Aaron in the audience talking with us in the chat room. So hopefully, I'm sure this will translate fairly interesting in the archives. But I think it's great.
I don't know yet, Aaron. I haven't had an astral trip with him yet, but he's even taller than Herc was.
The question was about the astral body of the wolves there. That's really cool, though. So you saw him as being huge before then, huh?
Herc was 6 foot tall.
Wow.
And we looked out, and I says, there's just me and you, buddy. And I says, we got a lot of reptiles out there. And he looked at me and says, hang on, boss. And he gave this between a bark and a howl, and suddenly he was 6 feet tall and said, get on.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
No, I got to ride him bareback, like my Native American soul brothers do.
Very cool.
I want to relate something real quick about Native American joining ceremony I went to back in September. And it was interesting that during the ceremony, about early that morning, we had stayed at a hotel. We were out on the patio having a cigarette, and all of a sudden, this white female wolf stepped into view like she stepped through a porthole. I'll do that in a minute, Aaron. And this female wolf took about 10 steps and looked up at me and then disappeared. During the ceremony, and I was selected as the elder for the gentlemen being joined together, and behind the shaman who was performing the ceremony, there was Herc and this white female wolf who was his eternal companion.
Oh, wow.
No, I don't. But I have been around Native Americans all of my life, and wolves too. And as they were walking around the circle, Herc and his female companion were behind them, and they was standing there. And Herc looked at me and winked. And then, all of a sudden, he and his mate disappeared. That night when we were down at the reception, I was outside having a cigarette. Thank you, Aaron. I looked up, and all of a sudden, Herc and his mate jumped into view. And they looked at me, and he winked again, and they looked, and they jumped up, and they were gone. And he's been here several times checking on Mr. Merlot.
Ah. Kind of showing him the ropes, I'm sure, too.
And it's interesting because Merlot will lay in places where Herc lay in the same way that he used to lay. And it's like Herc's here in the body of Mr. Merlot.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably some of the, like I said, it probably was, showing Mr. Merlot there the ropes, saying, "Hey, buddy, this is how I do it down here at Camp Human in these parts." So that's really cool, very cool.
All right, Aaron brought up a little thing I'd like to elaborate on.
Yeah.
And that's the morning that we woke up. Come on, stay up there. And we had a battle the night before somewhere in the astral. And Aaron had black and blue marks on him. I had black and blue marks. But that's not the most fascinating thing that happened. Later that evening, we're sitting here, and all of a sudden, we could smell this absolutely feminine scent. And I looked at Aaron, and I said, "What's that?" He says, "It's not me or you." Yeah, it was, because Herc slept all day.
Interesting.
I don't know, Joseph. Outside of the fact that I'm from somewhere up around the Pleiades, or the or Orion's belt. That's where I'm from a little planet up there that doesn't get screwed with too much. By the way, I spoke Sicilian before I spoke English.
Wow. So that's pretty interesting. So do you guys woke up with these with this knowing that you guys went through some kind of just round and round or something the night before that, huh?
What's my sign besides confusion? Depends if you're using the 12 or 13 signs of the zodiac. 12 signs, I'm a Capricorn.
Oh. It's interesting.
And I guess the 13th one I'd be whatever's behind that. Sagittarius? I don't know.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Yep. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm on Blog Talk or I'm still going anymore, so in the chat room, can you guys let me know if I'm still connected to you or not? Because
I hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Because I was getting some dropout again here. So, okay, great. Okay. Anyways, where do you guys think? Actually, yeah, I'm gonna ask the same thing tomorrow I just did right now in the chat room. Where do you think the bruises and such came from that night when you guys woke up?
Hello, Jeremiah. Where did I come from? You know, I wish I could remember that, but it had to be a hell of a battle because he had bruises, I had bruises and marks all over my body. And Herc slept all day.
Huh. Wow.
And later,
Yeah.
I think that same evening, Dunk was having a problem, and Aaron switched altars. I got a container of hot salt water that was boiling hot. Aaron put his hand in there, put his hand on Herc, and when he got done, the water was absolutely yellow and stank horribly.
Huh.
So I had to call up one of my psychics, and she said, take it over and dump it over your fence off of your property. And we did. But his arm was red all the way up, clear to almost to his neck.
Huh.
It was pure sea salt, Tamara. When I switch altars, yeah, it's still me.
That's interesting. Actually, on that subject, how does that, like, how would you relate that of switching altars and still having, you know, Dave be present? Is it really Dave really in control and now kind of allowing this to happen, or how does that work within yourself there? I'm kind of curious.
Well, I can step in and take back over if I feel like it.
Ah, okay.
And I found that out when number 8 was talking, when I made I took over for a few minutes and number 8 come back. And I said, great, I can override them. But most people can't tell if you're sitting here. You can't tell unless you listen to my speech and the way I sit. And Aaron can verify that. But number 8 talks differently than number 6 does, and they both talk differently than I do. And I think I know my true self there, ADR. Aaron, put in there what you think about alien disclosure.
Yeah, Aaron, in the chat room, please do, and we'll repeat it for the archives for everyone too. So.
Yes, Sword of Destiny, I do. Hi, Richard.
It's interesting. It's turned into almost like a little family reunion here in a lot of ways online in the chat room. It's pretty interesting. It'd be cool to somehow be able to show this in the archives, but we actually do even have Project Information Generation originator Jeremiah Duncan with us now too. So this is very cool. We have a neat little interactive session here.
No, guess 226 I haven't.
Yeah. What was the question? Actually, I missed that one.
Have I been switching during this interview?
Oh. Yeah, so does your voice change, or does the
my
cadence
voice
change too?
Timbre and the tone of my voice changes. It gets lower, slower. And it's interesting.
That is, actually. So, and so you're, in a sense, you're like observing this too while this is happening, right?
Exactly.
That's very, very intriguing. So in a lot of ways, I think probably with a little tuning, you'd probably make a damn good channel or something like that. Just because it sounds
not my thing in this world.
Yeah.
That's not my talents.
I hear you. So.
Plus that,
yeah, that's interesting.
I really don't want a challenge or channel.
Mm-hmm.
Do I turn into a monster? Nah. My son said, yes, I
do. You Hulk out, turn green, you rip the shirt off. Dave bad. But that's interesting though. With there's just so much, Dave. It's kind of everyone's all firing off these questions, and then it's like it's interesting trying to grab on a good trail to go on here. There's just so many places. So I think in the very least, might have to have you back on and pick a subject and let's just go with it. Because it seems like there's just so many ways that we can take this. It's really cool. So
to answer Gecko's questions, I don't think I can be triggered because I've had people come in chat rooms and throw all kind of trigger words, and I sit there and say, okay, I know what they are. It doesn't work with me. Mm-hmm. It has to be that when one of my alters has something to say, it comes up and says, okay, let me talk. So I just, not to my knowledge have they ever been tried to abduct me, but, who knows?
Have you ever had have you had your own sort of extraterrestrial contact experiences outside of the military too?
Nope.
Huh.
But when Aaron was here in November of 2009, 4 nights in a row, we saw what we call a blinker.
Huh.
And when you looked at this blinker, you could see it was a pyramid shape, flashing red, white, blue, green, yellow, gold, and violet. And we took a 3.5-hour video of it that I had a friend of mine who in town here who is a avid UFO researcher. And I learned something about it. When you photograph a UFO, keep something always in the picture what you're photographing, because someone who's doing analysis can do anything they want to. They can bring it in. As long as they know the distance to that ground object, they can figure out the distance, usually relative, very close to what that object is. Yeah.
So that point of reference. I've actually done a little bit of image analysis myself, and it's very important to have something to go off of, including like a direction it might be heading or things like that.
Have I ever tried hypnosis to break out of my situation? I don't trust hypnotists.
So and so you've worked to deprogram yourself using your own devices, then, right?
What would they see with an airport scanner? I don't know. I'm on the no-fly list. I have no desire to fly.
So you're on the list of honor there, then, huh, Dave?
Yep.
Yeah, there seems like there's some pretty cool people on there, actually.
Well, they put thousands and probably millions of people on there, and you don't know it on there till you. Yeah, hypnotism is really powerful. I know it is. They used it a lot on me to memorize things and probably to plant all kinds of shit in my head.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that at all. Definitely one of the common techniques. So.
But that, is the way it goes.
Yeah.
No, I don't know anything about that, Hoyer, about interdimensional energies rearranging chips inside my head?
It's an interesting question, though.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. Especially within these realms, it's you never know. Very plausible in a sense too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. In terms of your training, was psychic development part of that too?
It had to have been somewhat.
Interesting.
Yeah, TR-3Bs are real. What they are is a nuclear-powered ship that's silent. It can reach any spot on the globe within 12 minutes, and they're an aircraft. They carry other aircraft. I have to assume that's got to be orbs and maybe small UFOs, whatever, because they're usually about, from what I understand, 200 to 300 feet on the side. Because nobody fucking believes us.
The question was why are people who do whistleblow essentially on these secret projects not taken out? And it seems like a very valid reason there, Dave, because even with documentation on things from our own government, people still won't swallow the extraterrestrial pill. It's like, dude, it's in our own documents. Get over it, but nope.
Usually I can 226.
Interesting. So you're able to you can tell when you're in the presence of someone's Earth human versus someplace else. Then.
Tomorrow, I wish I had an answer for that. I have to assume it doesn't take very long. Thank you, Thomas. You're right on, and that's fine with me.
Hey, Dave, we actually have a caller right now. We can see who this is. May have a little chat here if you're up for it.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, caller, you are on the line here with Dave on Universal Truth Evolution.
I'm not a caller.
Oh, my God. Of course, I should have recognized that
doing?
number. I'm so sorry. Hey, everyone. This is Ben, UTE
Hey,
team.
Ben, how are you?
Hey, David. I'm great, thank you. I hope you're well.
Not doing too bad for an old fart, thank you.
That's awesome. I just wanted to chime in and say hello. We greatly appreciate you coming on, and it's been an awesome show. I had to work, but I always listen in.
Oh, I'm grateful to be here, believe me, and I'm honored to be here with all these marvelous people.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
That's no worries, mate. Sounds like they're having a great little time in the chat room there as well.
Yeah, I got to get you on Pig Radio some night.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be using a phone this time because Skype doesn't seem to want to cooperate. Last time I was there.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Thank you, Dee Dee. I appreciate that very much. She's honored to be with me.
Yeah, it's
Thank you, underclass hero.
Yeah, I got a lot of support here, Dave. That's what I'm saying. So this is a good place to really share and open up in a lot of ways. So it's really cool, and we obviously, like I said, it's almost like a little family reunion here, especially now with Ben online. It's always great when we have an impromptu Ben and Jerry show. Yes, it's tasty,
Where's the ice cream?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Oh yeah. So Ben, while I got you here, do you have any questions for Dave?
Me? No. I mean, pretty much everybody's been covering everything. It's awesome. We've never had such a competent guest who can actually look in the chat room and fire off the questions without you having to do it.
Yeah, I know. It's that's why I say I was thanking Dave earlier. How I said for doing my job for me.
That's awesome.
Class hero, you can come over here and sleep. But you ain't sleeping in my bed because I got 2 dogs, and I ain't sleeping on the couch for nobody. You can sleep on the couch in one of the spare bedrooms.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to disagree with those 150-pound wolves. So.
You know what happens? If someone breaks in my house, my dogs and wolf will show you where the stuff is.
Huh. They're like, now here's the bedroom, and we keep all the valuables here. It's like, that's pretty funny. Yeah, so very cool. This is definitely an interesting show. It's definitely been an interesting show. We're almost done here, but it was very cool. It was like everyone just came to play today, man. With the questions going off and Dave firing right back. It's really cool. So it'll definitely be an interesting one for the archives.
Yeah. When you come over, we'll have to make some recordings while you're here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they don't hurt you, guest 4712. They just growl. That's to the Yorkie and the tomorrow I go out and sleep with my big wolves in the summertime, and I have one lays on the right side, one lays on the left side. And it's the male that lays on the left side with his butt in my armpit, and the female wolf lays with her head on my shoulder. And if I try to move, they look at me and, why are you moving? We're protecting you.
That's cool. I'll just let you guys know, Aaron actually got kicked out of the chat room, and he's having electrical problems all of a sudden. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He was actually going to call in, too, but he said his phone's mysteriously acting funny, too, now. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about my dogs biting you. You have to worry about me, and I don't have my shots.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Nobody wants any shots.
Well, I want to thank all of my brothers and sisters from this planet and beyond who have been here today. I love and I appreciate every one of you.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. And thank
Wolf, New Yorkie. I don't know. Both my wolves in here are males. They're all fixed.
Cool. Cool. So, it's been an interesting show for sure, and we're just about out of time here. So, thanks, Dave, for coming on the show with us, and thank you, Ben, for being badass Ben Murphy, and Dave, go ahead and let everyone know about your show, and when the next one is coming up.
It's tonight from 9 to 11 p.m. Central or Pacific Standard Time. It's blogtalkradio.com/Pig Radio, P-I-G Radio, which stands for Project Information Generation. And we're going to give you information whether you're ready or not.
Exactly. We are that new consciousness wave coming across this planet, here to make the changes that we want to see and that manifest that reality that we want to be. So thanks once again, everyone, for hanging out with us here. And we will catch you Tuesday with our next guest, who is really escaping me right now. So check back on our Facebook or go to universaltruthevolution.com for all the information. And see you guys on Tuesday. And thanks once again, Dave. Thanks again, Ben. And thanks everyone in the chat room. So talk to everyone later.
You got it.
Got what cost. Businessman, government boss, almost all is lost. Will you walk a step behind today's way of living? Sacrifice a piece of pie to the future we are giving. We got to stand up and shout. Make it clear, make it loud. We got to stand up and shout. The time for change is now. Stand up and shout. Make it clear, make it loud. We got to stand up and shout. The time for change is now. We got to stand up and shout. Make it clear, make it loud. We got to stand up and shout. The time for change is now. The time for change is now. For change is
Ben, are you still there?
I am still here.
Wow, that's
I
interesting.
didn't know I was supposed to go anywhere. I'm sorry.
That's funny. I totally walked out, came back, and you're here. So we're now live in the archives, actually. So this is kind of interesting. So everyone's gonna get a you know, like how at the end of the movie, you know, how some movies how they put the little teaser for the next little thing at the end. They're getting that little extra bit at the end of the movie right now. So that's kind of funny. So, well, while I got you here, dude, what's going down?
Oh, you know, it's business as usual.
That's cool. That's cool. So, do you have any more appearances coming up yourself on any other shows?
I believe I'll shortly be doing another Pig Radio.
Oh, very cool, very cool. And what are your thoughts on the Chinese Prime Minister's visit to the United States?
I think it pretty much is what it is. they're looking at it from a kind of like a financial standpoint. I think that it's nothing untoward. It's just the fact. It's just more of basically, okay, so I know that what's going down between China and the U.S., but I think it's more of China just affirming their grip.
Yeah, because I know that they had talked about some kind of ventures that China was doing that was supposed to infuse X amount of billions of dollars into the United States economy. So, yeah, I could see how that. You know, and they were saying how in the major media how they're saying how this is China saying you shouldn't fear our rise to power is what they're saying.
Obviously not. This is something that we have to really, I don't think as America embrace, so to speak, but it's something that's going to happen. It's something that's been happening over the past while, but also it's like the rise to power at what cost? That's the biggest question. I think that the public are starting to ask, but this is good to other aspects. When they start looking at human rights, that's when people start asking more questions, then the questions become harder. And as China has difficulty answering or just refuses to answer, more people get pissed off, more people ask more questions, and the same thing is going to happen with the U.S. Yep. We're going to start to see the similarities. And when that happens, the whole ball is going to drop and everything's going to snowball because the U.S. is going to start to have questions that they can't answer either. And then Europe and so on and so forth. So it's going to be like a snowball effect. So I think that's a very good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think yeah, I agree. And I think that this is a pretty good sign because it's showing that either way you look at it, you know, either as them kind of business as usual, consolidating power, whatever, it's showing that there has to be a diplomatic move of solidarity being shown right now, as opposed to more saber rattling. You know.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that 100%. You know, we've definitely got to get together and do another Ben and Jerry late night show. I think that's, you know,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
definitely in the cards.
Yeah, everyone seems to like it, so I think they like the whole the Ben and Jerry thing too. So we definitely have to make a play off of that. So, but yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we'll schedule that sometime. You know, actually convenient for you too, because I know there's some scheduling discrepancies here with different time zones and just responsibilities. So we can even do that on a weekend or late night or something too. So
cool.
Anyway. Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely arrange it. So anyway, everybody else listening to the archives, go home. Okay, you've had Dave Corso. You've had all your questions asked. Now bugger off.
Yeah, seriously, guys. What the hell else more do you want from us, people? Oh, my God.
That's right.
We're blood, sweat, and tears here.
That's right.
But, all right, Ben. Anyway. I guess we can go ahead and hang up now.
Yeah, it's okay. You couldn't believe I was still here after the song.
Yeah, I know. You'll be on there for the next show already.
You know.
It's like, okay. Man, it's Tuesday. Right, it's been 4 days, dude. Hang up.
I'm still here.
Like, no, okay. I just felt like it.
All right, bro. Anyway. Take it easy, and we'll speak soon.
All right. Bye.
Okay. All right, later, mate. Bye.
So, thank you, everyone, if you've listened to this far into the archives. You got that little Easter egg at the end, so hope you enjoyed it. I could play the song out right now, but I don't think I will. So thank you once again for tuning in to Universal Truth Evolution on blogtalkradio.com. Be sure to check out our blog at universaltruthevolution.com. Thanks a lot. See everyone next time.